And every single shot started out with me looking at the camera like that. All right, so fantastic. Let me see, let me grab my pen real quick.
Do you need this as well?
So thank you, Ken, Hans, for coming to our usability testing today.
Absolutely.
Basically, what I want you to do is just kind of give a very brief, high-level description of your experience in the financial and technical
Sure.
so we can get a sort of a baseline idea of who you are.
Sure. Well, I've been in the space over 18 years now, so I spent the first 5 years working at a Big Four consulting shop in their technology practice. So I've done development across a lot of different, from a database layer to working in different IDEs, Java-based development, etc. With that, I haven't done that in a while, but I consider myself fairly savvy technologically, in that I've been around that space in varying roles and capacities now at a director level, but I call myself technically savvy. So I take pride in being able to navigate around particularly applications or computer or online websites, etc., that I can hold my own, so to speak, in that regard. So does that help answer?
What about your financial background?
Yeah, so financial, out of that time, those same years, I've split my time between healthcare and financial services. In terms of just general financial knowledge of markets, etc., I feel I have a decent level, not as strong as I would say on my technical aptitude side, comparing the two. But in terms of either solutions we've developed for clients over the course of my tenure here, almost on 10 years, we've done fairly complex financial related solutions. So don't say I know it all, and I don't say I purport to know the industry better than our clients, but I seem to have a general awareness of the financial markets, the different types of banks out there, and some of the way that technology solutions support that. So.
Fantastic, great introduction. And as with any application or software, before we buy it or download it, we usually get some sort of communication piece about what it does and what it is. So if you look at document number 2, Simplex actually prepared that for us, and that is the general kind of like marketing blurb to describe the application. So pretend that you are, scouring the iTunes app, looking for a financial application, and you come across this particular blurb. Okay. So I would like to go ahead and read it. Okay. And that way you get a general sense of what this application does. Okay. And then we'll continue with our.
Okay. Just let you know when I'm ready.
Yep. Yes. Just read through it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so you get a pretty good sense of what it does, Ken?
At a high level. I would say it's testing my financial knowledge in terms of seeing that this would be a relevant tool for me. Should I have initial impressions or know of what I think about what it does, or no? Does it matter?
No, we just want you to
get you.
All right, I got some context.
Okay.
Looks like a fairly sophisticated financial stock tracking tool, is what I'm reading here.
So today we're going to employ what we think, what we call a think out loud protocol for testing, and it's really nothing more than you thinking out loud of everything that you're doing, including your thought process, your impression, and most important is your expectations. I would like for you to do things like, I'm going to move my finger across the screen, and I expect it to scroll or don't scroll. And when I select that, I'm thinking that it should give me this type of information. That type of think out loud would help us to understand what your expectation, the the user of your persona would
Yeah.
expect and not expect.
Okay.
That will really help us to, design the application better based on these kind of, information and thinking that's going through.
Okay.
It's really simple, and if you forget it during the test, we just remind you again.
You'll remind us.
Yeah, it's just relax and just have fun with it.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
so forth. So why don't we go ahead and launch the application or start the iPad?
One more
launch the
sip of my
application?
morning coffee, so
Sure.
I'm ready.
This test is a series of tasks that we'd like you to do. It's less than 10 tasks. And once
Okay.
we finish that, Hal and I are going to just ask you some open-ended questions to just get your feedback on the app.
Okay.
So you can follow along here, but we'll read through these as well as we go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So should I read this first or just open the app or?
Yeah,
is it-
go ahead and open the app,
Open
and
up
we'll
the
just
app.
kind of prompt you along the way. So,
There we go. All right.
so to be fair, the application's not branded yet.
Okay.
So
That would be my first think out loud.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see text being dotted. I'm assuming it's down here, but right. For the savvy that it has, my expectation would be that it would be some eye-catching piece with easy-to-read
There you go.
text.
Yeah.
Start it. Okay. I see an end-user license agreement. I would consider this fairly standard, and as a consumer of apps, I generally just accept and move along. I don't know how I fit with most. I say I may trend to most, I'm not sure, but it seems fine. I'm sure it's protecting any liability against them, so I'll click accept. Okay?
Okay, when you hit the next the button there, what you're going to receive in the near future, and it's not completely done yet, is a screen that will have a series of tutorials with it. How does the application works? Now, here's the caveat: is that it depends on your personality, your persona, and your experience. Are you the type that would just kind of skip through the tutorial process and just kind of hack around it, or if so, you can do that. But if you would like to see the video tutorial, we have that prepared and we can present that to you. So it's up to you at this point.
I would say, given my relative level of financial knowledge, I read the description of the app twice, and I have an average to moderate understanding. It isn't completely, I get it, and I would know what to do intuitively.
Okay.
So in this case, I would probably want to see the app in action. I would tend to want to watch
Okay.
the application to watch it. Particularly my first impression here, I say, wow, the first thing I think of is cockpit. I think of a cockpit with a lot of controls and dials and visualization looks pretty impressive. But with that, being able to navigate the cockpit, I mean, my first reaction is, that's pretty cool. It looks sophisticated. But if there was a video there, I'd probably click on it at this case, just to get a sense of more.
You will
what-
click on
Yeah,
it?
I would.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and present you the videos on a separate device.
Okay.
So what you're going to get is an intro video and 4 different tutorials along with it.
Okay.
So without leading you, I'm just going to say that's what's going to be presented to you.
Okay.
So yes, at any point you feel that you've watched enough of the videos, you want to stop and you want to get back to the app,
Okay.
or even as we do the rest of these tasks, if you want to stop the task and go back to the videos, feel free to do so.
Okay. That sounds good. Well, I'm going to click on the intro and see what I got here. Very graphically rich is my first example. For most iPad apps, I have not seen this level of visualization being used. It's My one comment, if for open everything, it's good to read it through. General, when I'm looking at video, I'm expecting audio complementary aspects to it. That even though it's showing me, I saw the volume was up, and my reaction was, is it muted or is something wrong? Because the video itself was pretty good, but usually I would expect a narrative just simply. If I'm going to be engaged to do video to really see it, that's my expectations of looking at a video. It's going to be an entire package of audio and visual that go with it. So, all right, go to library. All right, well, I saw that first one. Oops, and I think I trended off where I'm supposed to be. There it is. I'm going to look at one more, I think, is just what my gut says, tutorial 1.
And this is pretty much your personality persona, Ken, that even though you're confident in this, you're the type that would actually study a little bit more before you dive into it.
Yeah, for something I'm not completely confident. If it was like a game or intuitive game, I would likely, just something that the context I got immediately, I'd be more akin to play around. But knowing that this is just relatively from a level of sophistication, it's really just the subject matter I'm learning on more than my confidence to navigate around app. I'm just trying to understand at a detailed level. For example, I own stocks, individual and portfolios, mutual funds, but I've never, going beyond what this offers in up to 10 international world indices, I've never really done that. So I'm kind of, at this case, engaging to learn more about functionally what it does, as opposed to feeling like I wouldn't be able to navigate the app. I'm pretty confident I could get around and start to do things. It's just trying to understand more of what this thing, its business value is, for my sake.
Yes, please feel free to watch all of
I
them.
think this is
or
the
any of
last
them.
one. I think I see the main, right. I'm getting the context, at least, of the value it's bringing. I see it has it looks like the magic is in the correlation engine, what they have, and that's the power. And I see 3 big things. I'm going to find stocks being correlated positively that have no bearing whatsoever on market movements, and then it going inversely. So I think I get it. So, all right. Let's see how much longer this one is. Now, candidly, right. I have a minute left, and I'm starting to get itchy. I've seen enough that I think I kind of understand, but I'm going to just watch. Let's see. I think I got 30 more seconds. I'll take a look. But my nature technologically, as you'll see, like I will, to that point, is to understand everything that's in there. So I generally will on any app I do. I'm clicking around and looking at buttons and seeing what it can do and digging and looking under rocks and all that just to kind of get what's there. And that's part of my nature, maybe because I'm in the business. I'm always curious there that I'm likely going to do now when I get in there. It's just to start clicking around and seeing what's going on.
That's good.
So, okay. So this one isn't done, and now, right, I've seen enough at this point. So it was good, but it's starting to feel repetitive, at least to me, for what I know and don't. So what's going to go in? Oh, now I got to start, I guess, with the task, correct?
Well, you're still at the EULA screen, so.
Okay. Do that, done, and I'm in.
Okay.
Should I begin with the tasks, or?
So our first question actually is just, can you give us a brief description of the main screen and what you think the infographics represent, to your best knowledge?
Okay.
And it's okay if you want to take a wild guess. We're just, giving your first impressions of the app.
Yep. Well, I see it consistent from the video. This looks like the main home screen is that I see the cockpit. I see correlation ranking for oil. I don't know if that's a popular thing, but I would be like, why would that be there? My reaction would be, okay, if I'm a US-based customer downloading it, maybe take a most popular, for me, like a NYSE or a popular stock that may be a leading indices, and like Dow Jones, like seeing oil, I'm like, huh? Like that's kind of my first reaction, is unless this is really like a commodities oil type thing. When I hear market indices, I would expect to see an equity of something that's probably very recognizable, like Verizon, AT&T, like in the telecommunications space. I mean, maybe oil, but I don't know. And again, that could be my impression, but when I hear equities, that's not comparing this against oil, that's not what I'd be thinking about. But And not to say oil isn't, now I see Marathon, these different ones, maybe that's popular, but, okay. So, that's my first reaction to short-term, middle, so what's going on here? Okay. I see the dials and the gauges. I'm trying to interpret what they mean, but I can see the positivity here. I'm seeing that the three, it looks like the actual stock tickers of oil in this case, the oil indices are,
You can touch it. You can.
yeah, there's correlation. Okay, so 6 months. Let me look through. Oh, that's pretty cool when you dial it, but let me go back there. I want to look at just the first. So middle term, long term. What I don't know, yeah, the time series, I guess I'm not clear on, but I see 6 months, 1 year, 2 year. Okay. So I'm guessing that's a forecast of market correlation of these stocks. What I don't see is this all regions, all sectors? I don't know what it's correlating against intuitively. That's what I'm trying to understand right now that I don't see immediately. So I'm going to go to the drop downs. My guess would be what is already pre-filtered here, but it looks like it's correlating. My guess is when it starts, my expectation would be it's getting an aggregate against all world indices, which it looks like all regions, all sectors for oil in general. All right, so that's what it's saying. So then for there, my interpretation is 6 months, 1 year, and 2 year. It's showing which stocks, is what I'm understanding, are most correlated from the 6 month, 1 year, and 2 year outlook against all world indices. So these seems to be the most popular. And then the least, okay. The least, I guess, is the middle, that it doesn't show any correlation based on this engine. I see that. And then there's the negative. Which ones are really going inverted? Okay. So that kind of makes sense. And maybe, again, I reacted to oil. I don't know. I don't follow oil. Someone that could be the most important thing. But now my interest is I want to, like, drop down and say, all right, what are stocks I know? Like Google or Apple or tech stocks or something in my space that I want to look at and, like, see if they have it. Now the question is, right, where would Google be? Is it a NASDAQ listed stock? Well, I'm going to try it. Okay. Question?
What was your expectation? Because I know you were looking.
Well, my first one now, I just see I'm only have the ability, it looks like, to filter by, it looks like world indices. So it's like by certain exchange, the Nikkei, the Dow, the S&P 500. My understanding or my thought, either in reading right or wrong, was that I was going to be able to actually create my own portfolio of stocks and see how they fit into the correlation machine. It looks like right now, my only ability right now is to pick either all indices or a specific stock index, or excuse me, a stock market, where they're making markets, and it's just going to tell me exactly what's there. Meaning, I don't think I'm going to be able to actually find certain stocks, provided they don't hit the top 5 of positive, least, or negative correlated.
Okay, so your expectation was to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I think this is interesting, but I know if I'm trading certain stocks and I want to know, if it's not hitting the top 5, least 5, or the negative inverted 5, I'll have no idea where my stocks fit in this continuum. So my question, I guess my thought was, seeing that, this is going to put the power in my hands, that I could actually tailor and say, here are the stocks I'm interested in, where do they fit? Or maybe do one, and it looks like I can't do that.
Well, it looks like, Ken, that you answered like 2 and 3 all in that, which is great because what you said just basically answered some of the question that we asked.
Can we go back to question 2?
Sure, go ahead.
For the graphics there that you see, what do you think the rings represent?
Good question. I mean, the main thing I'm intuitively gathering here is just knowing, like, the color coding of how they transcribe in a list view showing the data, and it looks like a correlation coefficient. And let me see. Well, my guess is that is the relative strength of that's the correlation coefficient graphically represented, I'm guessing. That's what I think it might be. Although these are pretty close, 4 and 5. Is that what it's showing here? Or is it showing, no, it's showing the amount of trades. I am not clear on what that's representing. but I'm looking here, and I guess I'll keep talking out loud as I'm looking.
Sure.
So, 6899T for AMG. I don't know what that number represents. That's showing like volume of shares traded, perhaps? But I'm not intuitively seeing it. And then I'm looking at what looks like a correlation coefficient for QQQ. And I see 0.983, which is the largest correlation. And that bar looks the longest. But then again, the wedge looks so symmetrically perfect, it doesn't seem like that's correlating with the actual numerics of the true correlation coefficient. So I don't know. Except that those 5 fit neatly on the page, like on the actual dial there. That's what I don't know. Except I do recognize here that across all 3 it's consistent of what it is. And also I'm seeing here 9x around the outer ring that's glowing. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
And maybe if I knew correlation coefficients better, that would be equivalent, because I see this is a 0.98 or close to a 1. Maybe that's what that means. But again, I would look at that and say, for me, because I'm not really that savvy and I wouldn't be trading institutionally to look here.
Yes.
Someone with more savvy than me these may be readily available type terms and figures that would be associated with these stocks that I'm just not aware of. So my intuition is, right, I would be helped from like an overlay screen to click on what's this. Then again, it may not be, my first reaction to this is, yeah, something I probably wouldn't likely, for my personal investing, wouldn't be using. I realize this would not be an app for me, but clearly for someone who is an institutional trader or something of that effect, that I could see this having more value for me, or for them than me. So, all right. I want to look at something else. I guess I just clicked on US to try and filter down and see. I guess I'm running back to a US market as well as the US region to see. So now I'm trying to filter to get more relevance. Ah, here we go. I like this. All right, here's the first filter I'm looking at in all sectors that I can actually look, like I was saying, Google. Now I want to look at technology. Okay. Well, I picked tech, and now I'm seeing, all right, Texas Instruments. Sprint Nextel. Okay, I see a few that are relevant. No, I look at, my other thought is as well, what my want would be, finally, these sectors, are more relevant, but my want would have more granularity. Like I see technology, and I don't know what this market correlator is describing as technology. What is it using? Is it using like, what kind of indices is it using as it's characterizing its industry codes? I don't know. But I look here in technology, and again, I'm in the IT space. I'm expecting Google, Apple's of the world, maybe even Cisco's in infrastructure, Microsoft's, some of the telecommunication providers, and I see, now these may be correlating great, but I'm like, where are they? Like, where are they in the market? Because I'm seeing Amphithol Corporation, I don't recognize. Analog Devices, Linear Technology, I see Texas Instruments and Sprint. Those are the only 2 I even recognize. So my next question is, how are they defining sectors?
Well, let's try to move on to question number 4. Can you select one of those for a more detailed view?
Sure. Ethanol. Okay. Do we answer everything on the first page so far? Okay. Okay. My first thing is, wow, that's pretty sexy in terms of the visualization. That's very rich. I see a spider diagram here, so let me look. So what is this telling me? Amphenol Corporation, in terms of correlation, I see like the spider web diagram. And it looks like it's most positively correlated in this case, from what I'm guessing, is to the NASDAQ, which is the one I actually filtered on. It's also showing the second best of the S&P 500.
How are you deriving to that conclusion that?
Just, I guess, looking at from the hub and spokes going out to the different indices around there, gold, gas, oil, etc. I'm noticing that the web, as it will, is the closest to the outer perimeter of the two indices I was just referring to, NASDAQ and S&P 500. So when I'm seeing gas, it looks like it's the furthest away, that just has no relevance from a correlation to begin with against gas because it's a high-tech company. That seems to make sense.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, to me, it looks like, yep, it's correlating against that and somewhat of the Dow Jones, but like silver, gold, some of these commodities, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so that makes sense to me. I don't know, that could be relatively common knowledge for most people, but it makes sense.
Okay.
What about the other graphs that you see beside the spider graph?
Let's see. All right, so correlation history against NASDAQ. It looks like, at least now, its coefficient is 0.83. So it's showing me history over time for the last July, September, almost a year, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
It's last 12 months-ish, what it looks like at the top at least.
Mm-hmm.
Why it went down and became inversely correlated, I don't know. My next intuition is like to click on it, maybe to see why spot in time it wasn't. Because this is just saying this is the correlation. My question would be why? Why is a stock that is so close to a 1-to-1 correlation, if it's 0.8 now, it was like 0.01 in December of 2012 in the start of the year. My question is why. I'm clicking on it like I want to know why, but it's just, you have to accept it as is here, which is curious to me. I mean, not to say I don't believe it's not true, I just want to know why. Like, how would that happen?
Okay.
So.
And the last graphic there?
Percent change historical price comparison. All right. I guess against the indices, I see APH as the stock. Huh. It looks like against, I know NASDAQ and I see IXIC. Candidly, I guess I feel naive. I don't know what that is. Maybe I should, because I filtered on NASDAQ and I'm like, what's IXIC? Maybe that's the world or the aggregate index, but all I see is against whatever relevant index of this stock, the price has kind of moved with the market, or that index is what it looks like, which makes sense. I mean, I've seen that with stocks that I followed. Okay, I get it. It generally falls in line with how the markets are moving, and that's what I see there.
All right, let's move on to task number 6.
Okay.
So let's navigate back to the screen that you were at before. Let's close out this view.
Can we do 5?
Oh,
Yeah,
do we
we'll pick
do
that.
5? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, number 5.
No problem.
Okay.
All right, you might want to read along for this one. Number 5. Can you pick the 7th most positively correlated stock against the NASDAQ for only the U.S. region's healthcare system?
I don't think I can, because I only see 5. Oh, there you go. That interesting. You know, it's funny. They have different descriptions on that. When I look at that, maybe it's the color coding or background.
Yes.
But there's nothing intuitively showing that there's anything below it. It looks like a fixed bar. Sometimes they'll have, what do they call it, the belt sander thing that actually shows. Having a visual that there's more there would have been helpful.
Yeah.
Because my answer to that, if you said you can't touch it, is it there? I'd say no.
Okay.
Because it just looks like you're done. You're
Yeah.
done at 5.
So
I didn't even know that was there.
Okay.
And there's no, the scroll bar appears when you touch it, but I didn't even know you could go below that.
Yeah.
So,
Great. Let's read number 5 very carefully again, Ken. We would like you actually to do this task if you
oh,
can.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm saying, no, I'm with you there, but so it's the 7th most, so I didn't even know you could get the 7, that's why I was debating that. NASDAQ, I'm on, US, and then I would pick technology sector. That seems pretty easy to do based on the filters. So I got NASDAQ, US, healthcare. I'd scroll down. It looks like it's Zimmer Holdings, Inc. for positive correlation against NASDAQ and US healthcare sector.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now, was that pretty straightforward to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the way that's written is, it's like, once I got oriented and looked at the 3 filters, it kind of looks like you know what you get in terms of market. So yeah, the way that question was laid out is very easy to do.
We may have override that task,
Yeah.
you know, because, well, it would be too difficult. There's no other way to do it, really.
Yes.
Okay, why don't we jump to 6 and just go ahead and...
6
Okay.
is very similar to 5. Can you view
More. Oh, God.
Can you view more information on the most negatively correlated stock against the gold index in the European region?
Yeah, let's see. So I would go to the commodity gold in there. I would go to Europe specifically. Now I would go all sectors, I'm guessing, because I would not know how to filter down into sectors of gold. So I'd go here, and then I would say on the most negatively correlated stock against the gold index. So correlation ranking for gold in Europe, all sectors. Capita PLC is what I'm seeing. So I think in what I know that this app can do so far, that's as deep as I can go. So my more information would be going to clicking on the actual stock itself when I got there for more, which is what I would do, which this does, which is nice. It looks like you can hit the radial diagram and click it, or you can click on the individual stock and it brings up the more information, but that looks like as far as I can go for more information.
Okay.
And again, I guess I'm looking, for me again, the correlation, like it had a much, well, a relatively stronger correlation at the end of the year, and now it's inverted down. My next level of why, I keep wanting to hit that to understand why this seems like there's so much volatility in correlation. But I realize in the context of this app, you just have to understand that that's the way the correlation app is calculating it for you. But maybe someone who's more intuitive and savvy would know why, or say that's interesting and I know why because they know the markets. I don't know. I'd want to get a description of it.
All right, we're on to task number 7.
All right.
And that's add 5 stocks to your watch list.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see a watch list here. That little guy's hiding right there. All right.
So you didn't notice that watch list until we asked you specifically?
Right. No, and I even said in the beginning, I said I didn't see, I want to add stocks and I can't. Like it's a nice feature when you click it, but it's so small. It doesn't seem to lend itself there. I would say if it was a main, like right now, the main features you have, it looks like I have 3 filters. That's what I see. Like if I probably wouldn't have answered that question if I look across the top and this was bold and another menu drop down, even spaced over, that just said watch list. That would be nice, because here it's written vertically and it just looks like it's off to the side. No. Interesting.
Okay.
Probably with enough surfing around, I would have been, what's that? But it didn't, when I first opened up, it's not what I didn't even see it, really. So, cool. Add 5 stocks to your watch list. Okay. Let's see. 6 months, not there. Click on it there. I'm guessing that's simplex. I see a wagon wheel. Okay. So clicking on the settings button. Well, my first gut would be trying to add to the watch list. Why isn't the plus button on that front page? Because I see a settings. Settings to me means that wagon cog wheel or that engine cog wheel means you're going in to configure preferences. But going in here to your watch list, there's nothing that presents just like add here, which this is making more sense now to me. Oh, okay, cool. Now when you get into settings and you go there, that makes more sense. So search for stocks. All right. Now I'm going to get my tech stocks. All right, I added Google. I'm going to do what I was doing. I like the search feature, and I'm searching now for tech stocks that I want to do. That's actually really easy. That's pretty fast too. What else? How about Cisco? Yeah, this is kind of nice actually. This seems pretty easy. Oh, cool. So I'm noticing here as well the little 3 horizontal bars, which I'm assuming means you can drag and move these things around. Because again, I'm seeing crude oil, natural gas, and gold and silver. Index order, I'd flip that to, I'm doing it to, that's very easy to do, which is nice. NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones. I'll probably put Dow Jones first, NASDAQ, S&P. And there are more, there's a lot more down there. Okay. Again, I didn't know the way these white lines, it looks like a completed page. Not until I started to move it, like there's no intuitive piece showing me there's even more indexes down here to look at. That I would like to have some indicator that it was there, but let's see, LIBOR, Europe, British pound, Nikkei, COMEX, silver, 3, 4, 5.
Can
Okay.
you add 2 more stocks to your watch list?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm seeing. I don't understand why there's only so many indexes that are actually they're gold. I'm assuming that's relevant. Maybe that's relevant to the radio. You can only have so many in there. So my question is, what if I put the Nikkei in there? Does it switch and switch the diagram? Maybe it will when it refreshes, but I'm guessing you can only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would make sense. I guess that's not well, sort of intuitive, but not really. But okay. All right. So sorry. I need to add 5, 2, 3. All right. Let me keep going. Who else am I going to add in there? Let's see, Samsung. That wouldn't be, not in there. Samsung has to be a publicly traded company, doesn't it? HTC. This could be my ignorance, but they gotta be in there. Let me do this. I'm gonna filter on technology, see what I find in there, and try and get some more in there. Altera, Amdocs. We got Apple, we got the 2 biggies like I would with anyone else. Now I'm trying to get stocks that I feel I got. Citrix might be interesting just to watch. There's 4. Tech. It would be nice too. I mean, I guess if you're searching, it's there. But my other pieces now, I'm thinking of S for Samsung, and now I'm like scrolling down, like if they had kind of what I would expect in apps today. Either like tabs, or sure you could quickly jump to actually the first letter, so you could just quickly go through as opposed to just plowing through all these. But now I'm going to get down to S.
Like your contact list and.
In the phone,
Yes.
something like that.
I'll put Salesforce in there. I can't believe them there. All right, so there's my
Okay.
5. So I got some relative tech stocks. All right. All right.
All right.
Watch list. What's 2? I guess you can have 2 independent sets of watch lists. I guess that's what that means. I saw the 1, 2, and I'm trying to understand what that is. I don't know what that is. Doesn't say watch list A, or I'm guessing it's a second watch list. Sorry.
Can you prioritize the stocks that you just added to your watch list?
No, can't drag it right there on the screen. I'm going to go back to settings, I'm guessing. Oh, maybe. Yes, it looks like you can. Yeah, I guess that's consistent with apps, even like weather apps. When you put different cities, and I'm thinking of just app nature, you have to go in the settings before you can move them around. Be nice if you could do it on the home page to move it, but I mean, that's fine. Settings, I would get that was where I would go.
Okay. And our last task for you is, can you prioritize the indices that you want to observe?
Oh, okay. Yes. I think I was playing with that. I got off task there, but that's because it caught my eye.
Yeah.
It looks like you can. NASDAQ, S&P, and all those. Federal, yeah, I wonder how that works. I'm going to try and slide one down from the bottom all the way up. Yeah, it's pretty fluid. It's nice. It's got good usability. I like moving that. My next question would be, what if I don't, like, this is forcing me to have 7 indices? Maybe I don't want 7. Maybe I only care about 3. The S&P, the Dow, and the NASDAQ, that's it. Don't tell me about anything else. I just want to look at those. It doesn't look like you're able to do that. And I guess with that, I could just ignore them, because I'm guessing by the nature of this spider diagram, it needs to fill out all of the spokes of the wheel, which is okay. But I feel as well, like COMEX Gold, natural gas, and crude oil for my tech walk, I don't care. Like right now, from what I know and don't. I'd just be looking at that against the major indices that are relevant to me. But It's fine. I mean, it's kind of, it's like extra information that I'm trying to shoo away, but I get it. I can just focus on what I'm looking at, so, okay.
Well, great
Cool.
job, Ken. I mean, your feedback's been different than other people
Oh, really?
as well, but that's what we want. And there are common patterns between everybody, which is great. That's
Oh, really?
And as prognosis, you know, when Nina and I first did the initial, we
Yeah.
have before we even really look at got the demo from Simplex, we made our own notes.
Okay.
And then we basically compare it and then write the testing based on some of those assumptions. And then
Okay.
now it's been validated over and over by
Okay.
certain people.
Cool.
So we're going to go to more of a free-form
Okay.
section, which is the interview.
Okay.
It allows us to kind of extract other kind of
Okay.
information from you. And as someone who has knowledge in the financial and financial technology industry, you find this application to be useful in your analysis of the market correlation?
Relatively, does it look like it is at providing what looks to be legitimate correlation data for stocks? Yes. Would I find it, given my level, like my job and what I do, is it something relevant to me? No. I mean, that's just like my gut reaction. I think it's an interesting app to look at and play with, but I look at this and it feels like it is more valuable in the hands of someone that, you know, people I know who are institutional traders up in Wall Street, that my gut reaction is, maybe one friend of mine, so-and-so, he might be really interested in this, or just getting his feedback that this could be something that would be like, wow, that's really neat. But for me, while it's interesting, it's fairly sophisticated. I say more sophisticated than is relevant for me, really, personally.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being easy and 5 being difficult, do you feel that this app is easy or difficult to use?
I'd say fairly easy. I had a couple knocks for just the intuition, but getting around, 1 is the most easy,
Yes.
and
1
5 is the
most-
least. I'd say a 2.
Okay.
I mean, you get in, there's not that much. You see the filters at the top. I didn't like that the watch list was there, but kind of so small. And then when I went in to add, it's like you had to go to settings. It felt a little counterintuitive, but okay. I mean, I sort of get it. But in general, I mean, it's easily presentable. I mean, in terms of just being able to navigate around and read the data, I mean, it seems fairly easy to get around.
What are the 2 features that you find most useful in the application? Just 2.
The watch list. That was the first thing I was burning to do. Like, you know, the what's in it for me.
Right.
Like, just for maybe a global economist, it's interesting to see that, but for me, and what I do with it, it's like I want to tailor it for me and get data that's specific to stocks and equities I care about and indices. So that was the watch list, I think, was the most helpful for me. The second one, well, I guess I bundled the features in the watch list, so it was tailoring those indices as well. I mean, those would be the 2 features I guess I would put in there. To make this app more relevant to me. But all right, so we'll say the watch list is 1. The second one was being able to filter by industry, that I thought was the second, because again, it was such a global view of everything that unless you are, that's the only thing I could say, like a global economist or a global trading consulting, you know, or industry watch firm, that would be interesting. But for someone who's like executing on, you want to make it relevant. So those 2 features, the watch list and the filtering by like sector and industry, were the most valuable to kind of make it relevant to what I wanted to look at.
And then inversely, what 2 features do you find as least useful in this application?
Good question. It's all right if I surf a little bit as I
Yeah,
go
no,
back.
please, take your time.
To me, I don't know what least relevant even means. It's like if it has no relevance whatsoever, it's not showing up on the positive or negative. It's just, again, that could be relative to my sophistication of working with something this or not, but I get positive and negative. Something that's not correlating at all, I don't know, by intuition, would either be on the plus list or negative list or not. Like, just showing how it's not being affected by the markets. I'm not clear on what that means to me.
Okay.
And what was it again, the second one, that they're like
Yeah.
least relevant, you mentioned?
Yeah, what other feature did you not
Oh.
find
Least
very...
useful.
Oh, useful.
Just useful, or confusing, in
Yeah.
that kind of category.
Well, you do have me now, when we got down the piece, was those, the length of the bars. I don't know if I'd call it least helpful per se. I mean, I think it's trying to show you something visually, but I found confusing to try and figure out the direct correlation to what it is. I mean, I guess it's just showing the order, but I wasn't clear on what that meant. And even when that question was presented, I couldn't get why those bars were bigger or smaller. And that could be me more than anything else.
So that leads us to the next question. How would you change the way the information was presented to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the list views are very easy and clean to read. I might take another stab at the correlation of those radial visualizations. Or maybe have it in a way that it's explained what the numerics mean or something like that to make it more easy. I'm used to seeing either correlation coefficients that maybe is like a vertical bar chart just showing here's how they're stacking up and how they are relative to each other. Like the graphic does not show the correlation coefficients you can see in the list view. I would expect to be able to quickly visualize without having to look at the coefficients, what the correlation coefficients are and how they are relative, and you can't really see it. All the bars are fixed and equal on the positive side, so it doesn't seem like it's actually visually representing the data behind it. And that's the thing, I might want to change it. I like the idea of having the visualization. The spider charts, when you show that, how it's gravitating to the different, that makes sense, because it shows you what's getting pulled to what, but it's always a straight pie chart for the top 5 that doesn't seem to be consistent with the numbers, the correlation coefficients, just a lot of back and forth. I'm looking at that, then I don't understand, then I see the correlation coefficient, then I'm going back, I'm trying to see, by reading the correlation coefficients in the list, is that actually equating to the length of bar at top? I'm not sure, it sort of looks like it does, but I don't know. That's just what I might change, because that's the major cockpit you're sitting in the whole time.
I think you might have answered number 6 already, but I'll just go ahead and ask you. So, does this app make sense to you? Does the information and does the information make sense to you?
Yes, I mean at a high level, what it's saying to do, I understand. Like it's saying that these stocks are either related to or correlated to where the markets are moving or not. At a high level, I understand. Using that practically for me to do my job, that is not as relevant to me. But I mean, what it's trying to do, I look at this and say, yes, this seems like a capable app for someone who's more sophisticated than me, and the financial markets that they may find helpful.
What do you think was the most confusing part of the app? What feature confused you the most?
What did? It was more frustrated me. It was like looking at because I don't know the context of market correlations well enough, seeing something that's so tightly correlated with the market when you hit the more information, and then seeing that it just like wildly was not correlated and not getting any information or reason why. I found that, I guess, frustrating or confusing in that it just seems that whoever made this app, you need to just go on faith that their correlations are 100% accurate, but it's not explaining what happened or why. And I'm looking at it again, like I see the volatility of this correlation, and I keep wanting to know why. And maybe that's not something they would share, I don't know, but it just seems like you're going on trust that it's true.
Sure.
Whereas you can see, wow, geez, the Dow Jones dipped today. Why? You go on news and you can see why, like trading was down, negative foreign economic events, there's no explanation to like the app's not explain. You can't get any more data about why. That is a little frustrating.
Okay. What do you think about the treatments, or just overall, what do you think of the aesthetic design of the application?
I mean, it's one of the most visually rich I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think the diagrams, just from their presentation, are visually rich. They look good. The usability of the screen, it feels fairly tight. It's very easy to click. It seems fairly responsive, that I like.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really waiting. The search feature in the watch list was extremely quick.
Mm-hmm.
So general usability, I'd say, yeah, it's pretty nice, like in that regard. Yeah, I mean, like the black, the inverted colors, I think it's presented very, I mean, professionally looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm used to seeing most apps that kind of have white with black text or kind of inverted, but that isn't anything that, I mean, I don't view it overly negative. It's just more of a comment, but it's kind of like a sophisticated app, so I think it looks kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of my reaction.
Okay. Do you think you would buy this app from the App Store?
For me, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Just because now experimenting with it, it's not relevant to my job, or even as, you know, I'm not a personal, for example, day trader on the side.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think to friends who I might say, hey, have you seen this before and what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
To get their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't just as relevant to me, and that's just why. So
that leads me to the next question in which you answer. Would you recommend this application to another user?
yeah, I mean, if I did, it wouldn't just be to like random friends. It would be to folks I know who are literally in the profession of trading.
Mm-hmm.
That I would likely recommend it to and say, hey, why don't you check this out? This may be of value to you. But it would have to be someone I knew who was kind of a quote-unquote specialist,
Mm-hmm.
who did trading, equities. I know equity analysts on Wall Street. I know traders on different exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
It would be a very niche set of people
Mm-hmm.
that I would recommend this to see what they thought about it.
What do you think they would pay for the app?
I mean, if it was that valuable to them,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like having a real-time piece, I don't think they'd think twice about, I mean, paying $1, $10, maybe even $20.
Mm-hmm.
I think the value this thing's having, it could be even more, or a subscription service, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing some of my friends who do it, you know, they're moving institutional trade blocks, 100,000 shares, 500,000 shares. I would think paying $1, $10, $49, $100 for if this information helped them do their job better. I don't think they'd think twice about it. But
Sure.
it's kind of a different paradigm than what I'm used to. Would I pay that? No.
Okay.
If it was free, might I download it to see it again? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, when something's not relevant, even paying 99 cents, regardless of what it is, feels like a lot. So.
Okay, and our last question. Do you have any other comments about the app?
No, I mean, I think you guys covered it pretty well in terms of just my thoughts. I'm looking here for the information. But the only other piece, again, as I mentioned, was the context of being able to have things kind of explained, or the last thing is, in addition to the videos, maybe that's enough. But now I'm seeing iPads out come out with kind of the semi-transparent with the arrows and explaining what's going on, that I find very helpful. You can either swipe it away, or you can look at it and it can help you through the app in terms of like context, in-context help. That might be nice to have.
That's actually really good comment.
If we were to ask you to find help on this app, where would you go to?
Yeah, I'd see the information button. I'm clicking it right now.
Okay.
It'd be like the first place I would go. That seems kind of standard. It shows, doesn't, yeah, there's some things in here, which is
Yeah,
good.
it doesn't have the most current.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh, look at that. And that's the idea from the visualization. That was the idea I was trying to say with the radial diagrams versus that. Like, that shows that that's a correlation coefficient and negative.
That makes more sense to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't even need, and maybe the numbers are overlaid. then you can have this drop-down list, you don't, but that's immediately intuitive.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's pretty much it, Ken.
Right.
You know, due to the short length of this study, you know, I think we've done a lot for
Yeah.
that short amount of time, but
Mhm.
we appreciate your feedback. We see a lot of similar and consistent, you know, issues, and then we saw a lot of similar things that are great about the application. So we'll give
Okay.
all that feedback back to the customer.
good deal.
And our job's not to, you know, do anything other than give like honest feedback
Yeah.
and review of what we found.
Good deal.
Okay? Thank
Sounds
you very
good.
much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you for your time.
Sure, no, it was good. Does your head go in there to finish it too? Is this what happens now?
Yeah.
No, I think it ran out of battery, but that's okay.
Did it run out of battery?
Yeah.
This is the most important part at the
Oh,
end.
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I
because
just
at this
charged
point,
it all
you weren't
up.
in the app
Yeah.
anymore, so.
Should run out
Good
of.
deal. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you,
That
Ken.
was good. I really enjoyed it.
We'll have all of this information.
Yeah.
So the idea is we're building a template for you, your practice here too as well. So the idea is hopefully we can
It
move
looks
forward.
really nice. I
Yeah, the
don't know if you've
website
seen-
you guys had cooking, you showed me, and I was like,
Oh, did you
wow.
see the screen? Yeah. it's-
That looks really good.
We actually do a lot of video editing too.
Oh, really?
We splice both of these, I splice both of these video into one comprehensive video
Okay.
in high def. So they see your face, but then they also see what you're doing here, and I have to
Mhm.
sync it up. It's something I know how to
Awesome.
do, so it's not a big deal.
Awesome. That's cool.
So yeah, here's just some screen grabs of what it has created.
Oh, it's all right on here, yeah. see.
Yeah, it's awesome. You showed me that briefly in
Yeah.
DC1. It's really cool what
Okay.
you guys
Yeah.
are putting together.
Well-
That was phenomenal, guys. I was really impressed. Like, it's one of the best I've ever been through. I've done one before with like spot marketing and all that. That was good.
Yeah, thanks,
Okay.
thanks.
That was, yeah.
We still got a lot of work to do, you know, to
Just-
to take all this
Yeah.
information and really bubble it up and say, what is really the real issues? You
Yeah.
know, and not just like, hey, it's the color, it's this.
Yeah.
But, you know, to me, that's okay, but
Yeah.
it's kind of crap. What I want to know is the user process, can they achieve certain tasks, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
That's
So
think
now we
it's-
can all compare notes since
Be
you've
interesting to see
seen
what
the
it-
app now.
Yeah.
Now we can talk
Cool.
about it.
It was, yeah, it was wonderful. Very